Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to your wealth class on Lagos Television. It's the first edition in the new month, in the new quarter, and of course, the last half of 2018. So we're going to be devoting extensively our time on this platform this afternoon to look at how the market performed within the first half of 2018, and we are going to be doing that looking at the performances of the key indicators, and we're going to be interpreting that to you. You know that often what you get to see in the news media is the reporter coming out or the broadcaster coming out to read the performances of the market, talking about volume deals or the Osher Index market capitalization. But all those are not just figures that you just flip over. They sure have interpretations which are very, very technical, and that we're going to be doing on this platform. And the major stocks that actually emerged as winners within the first half of the year, we are going to be bringing to you. We're not going to be doing African market per se because we have a lot to do, and thereafter we're going to be doing what I call fundamental of Forex. If the technology permits, we're actually going to be connected such that you could see what we're going to be talking about live and direct. In the house, we already have Mike Fowope and his partner from Hantech Global. Thereafter, we're going to be looking at the way the market is performing live and direct as we connect with Aruna Kebira right on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange. So we go straight to what the market did in the first half of 2018. Very significantly, there are quite a number of indicators we're going to be looking at. As an analyst, we're going to be doing this to lead us to the best industry and what you should do and know, or what you should know and do. Market capitalization. When you talk about market capitalization now, that includes or incorporates volume and the prices of equities. For the half year, January to June, grew by 1.89%, while the Osher Index only incorporates price performances. It grew 0.09%. It is Osher Index in the sense that it incorporates the prices of all equities that are listed on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange. We are talking about the good, the bad, the ugly, right? So that is why it is called All Share Index. Right. At any point in time, to know whether a company is doing well, to know whether an industry is doing well, you have to gauge the performance with what the All Share Index is doing, because the All Share Index shows you the general performance of the market. So in this case, we could see NSE Pension was the best. It grew 8% in the half year. NSE Insurance grew 7.94% in the half year. NSE Premium, which includes equities like UBA, Dangote Cement, Zenith, Access, and a few others, will still create the time to tell you the composition of all these indexes, not today but at a later time. Then NSE Lotus 2 grew 2.59%. NSE Industrial Goods grew 1.68%, while NSE Mainboard grew 0.32%. Thereafter, we'll also see NSE Banking Index, which represents all the stocks of the banks that are listed on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchanges, grew 0.13%. NSE 30 Index did not grow, declined 0.44%. NSE Oil and Gas declined by 2.26%. NSE Consumer Goods declined 4.96%. NSE Corporate Governance Index declined 7.94%, and NSE SM declined 12.67%. I'm later coming to tell you the interpretation and what all these indicators actually means. But I would like to say that on television we have very few minutes to do so many things. We have compiled all these things in a comprehensive format on the pages of StocksWatch weekly newspaper. So please, you will see the numbers that you can contact in case your vendor is telling you he doesn't have the newspaper. Please, the paper is available. I am the publisher. Especially in this edition, our kids now, we saw them a couple of minutes ago, how that they are in a debate session, right? Very interesting, very commendable. And when this program is concluded, the debate continues, all right? Fine. In this publication, there are pages that are devoted to youth, to children, and some of them will be starting their examination today. Some have already started. What we have on the pages of the newspaper for this week is examination tips for our children. And then if you are a retiree and you need the insight on children education, how you need to plan it, it is there on the pages of StocksWatch weekly newspaper. Our name is StocksWatch. My name is Abayomi Obabelejo. I'm also called Oba Stocks, King of Stocks. I have said this: if you see any publication in this country that does stocks as much as StocksWatch, bring the publication. In the column called Oracle, all right, we sat down and did comprehensive analysis of how the market performed in the first 6 months of 2018. These are not information that you can commonly come by. They are not easy to come by because it even takes times, and they are technical, and you need the knowledge and the skill. The advantage we have is that by the grace of God, I've been around the market for about 30 years, and so when you talk about some of those information, I have them at the tips of my finger, and that is what we share on the pages of StocksWatch. We also take the time to analyze quite a number of equities. If you are a woman, there's a column in the paper that addresses you. If you're an entrepreneur, there is a column in that paper that addresses you. And so please call this number that have been shown and then get a copy for this week. And from there, we move straight to the seminar that is coming up on the 14th of July this year, right? I call it Business, Investment and Leadership Academy. I'm a businessman, but again, I do a lot of stocks, right? And when you talk about leadership, well, every one of us needs that. And in this particular workshop, we call it Fundamentals of Investment. I'm very sure that Mike Fuwope and the guys from Hantech will be there to really take us through the Forex aspect of that program. I'm going to be there. Aruna Kebira will be there, and others will be there, and we'll be talking stocks also. It's going to be free 14th of July this month. I think 2 Saturdays from now. You can call those numbers for details. Now we come back to interpretation of those indicators that we earlier showed. In the Q1, that is within the first quarter of 2018, we saw that the market was a lot better, right? And in the Q1, we saw that the NSE premium, which comprises of the biggest equities in the market, the most formidable equities on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange, and the list, as I said before, include Access, Zenith, Dangote Cement, Nestle, and all those. The biggest and the choicest equities on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange. So they performed so well in the first quarter. If you recall that, in fact, in the first month of this year, the market grew by well over 16%. So these were the facts behind the rise in the Ultra Index performance within the period under review. And we also saw that NSE Pension, NSE Industrial Goods also did well within the first quarter of 2018. And then we saw that the Q1, the indexes, what they reflected within the first quarter of the year was the performance of the foreign investors. Why did I say so? All those indicators that we saw that did very well within the first quarter of 2018, they actually outperformed the market. That is how you can say an indicator is doing well. An indicator is doing better, is returning better than the general performance of the market. All right. So it shares that within those period, the foreign indicators, the foreign investors, because all those NSE premium, NSE industrial goods, these are the equities where the foreign investors actually have their holdings substantially. And so within the first quarter of this year, these indicators did well because the foreign investors, though were still bailing out, but they were not erratic, if I'm allowed to put it that way, within that quarter. Now we move straight to the second quarter. In the second quarter, we now began to see those indicators, those indexes that rose well within the first quarter. They began to lose value. They began to record losses. So it suggests that in the second quarter, foreign investors were exiting, as revealed by the performances of NSE Premium, performances of NSE Industrial Goods Index, and the performances of NSE Banking Indexes. Within those period, the NSE Premium actually for the second quarter of this year declined by 7.79%. NSE Industrial Good declined by 8.37%. NSE Banking Index also declined by 8.55%. But we saw that NSE Pension Index actually, though declined, but relatively lower than the others. It declined by 5.96%. And so we could see from this performance of the second quarter, the period between April and June, that NSE Pension and a few others actually were bullish than the other industries. So if you are looking for the best strategy to adopt as we now enter into the third quarter of the year, the period between July rather, and September of this year, the equities that had been able to hold forth, they were able to stand their ground irrespective of the turbulence in the market, were those equities listed under the NSE Pension Index. And so what question you might need to ask me subsequently, which we might probably begin to answer next week, is to begin to tell you those equities that are that constitute the NSE Pension Index. So for H1, for the entire of the first half of the year, NSE Pension is actually a major fox, because within that period, January to June of 2018, we can see that NSE Pension actually led others with 8% performance, whereas the market capitalization only grew by 1.89%, and the Usher Index of the Nigerian Stock Exchange grew marginally by just 0.09%. But NSE Pension for the first half of 2018 grew by 80%. Let me remind you again that all this I'm saying have been done in a more comprehensive format on the pages of StocksWatch Weekly News paper. So when you have it, you can keep it, and you can even underline and revisit it again, right? But again, all these things we are doing, we will still capture some of them and still share on the social media platform much later today or tomorrow. Then NSE Insurance, that is very, very important, all right, that I say this. Normally many people might not want to invest on insurance stocks on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange, but funny enough, they have shown so well strength, because many of them actually came down to the 20 kobo, which is the minimum that is allowed on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange now, and they began to rise again. Not that alone, we'll still come to talk about that very shortly. NEM Insurance grew by 92% between January and June of this year. Also, we now could see that NSE Insurance performed so well, being the second in the year to date. And then NSE Premium grew by 6.10%. All right, so we move quickly now to talk about the best stocks within the period under review, that is the first half of year 2018. CCNN was outstandingly the best stock in price performance, though I'll soon tell you how they arrived at that level. CCNN grew by 152.63%, NEM grew by 92.77%, Unity Bank grew by 83.02%, then Len Africa grew 79.55%. Ikeja Hotel was on technical suspension for a long time within the period. The technical suspension was lifted and then it grew by 75.84%. Calverton grew 68.99%. Beta Glass was up 68.19%. Eternal Oil grew 65.76%. Fitson Healthcare was up 62.16%, while C&I Leasing grew by 60.47%. There are lots of others within that period. If you read StocksWatch newspaper for today, you will see that about 57 equities gained within the first half of 2018, whereas I think about 75 equities, or between 75 and 78, actually declined. So we go straight to the three best performers that we can afford to bring you. Of course, we still have some of them on the pages of StocksWatch this morning. CCNN, why did it grow? And there are also further possibilities. It grew because it grew from 9 naira 50 kobo to 24 naira at the end of the first half. I've told you the percentage gain in the first 6 months. All right, and the price actually got to 29 naira before it was adjusted down. It came down to 24 naira. But again, why was it so? The outstanding number of shares is just 1.2 billion units, out of which 900 million units are being held by just few individuals that we never sell. So the float available for people to buy and sell on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange was not much, and so the price is not such that we crash, irrespective of turbulence at the market arena. All right, and besides that, the figures coming out from the organization were not bad at all. In 2017, the earning per share for the audited report was actually 2 naira 57 kobo. All right, how much was the stock selling then? It was selling below 15 naira, and they went ahead to pay a dividend of 1 naira 25 kobo, and so the price rally we saw in CCNN was actually justified. And in 2018, we saw that they have reported, as we speak now, an earning per share of 86 kobo. If they are able to hold on to this, it suggests that what we saw in this organization for 2017 will be far lower than what they will report subsequently in 2018. Not that alone, there is a major arrangement between the core investor in that organization, all right, and CCNN as we speak now. The company is called Kalambaina Cement, and when you talk about this matter, when it is eventually consummated, it makes the stock of CCNN on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange to become more scarce. Let's leave that to NEM Insurance PLC. Sometimes figures, don't have emotions. That is what Aruna Kibira will always say. Figures don't lie. These are what the figures are saying about NEM, that it grew in price from 1 naira 66 kobo as at the last trading session on 29th of December 2017 to 1 naira 66 kobo just last week Friday, which was 29th of June 2018. In the process, within this 6 months period, it has generated a growth of 92.77%. And even in the month of June alone, the stock of NEM grew by 25%. Others were coming down. NEM keeps increasing, all right? And even last week, all right, even when the market came down for about 3 days, NEM still grew 5.26%, which suggests that the stock is not tired of its movement. The earning per share for the full audited report for last year was 53 kobo from 35 kobo in the previous year, and 14 kobo was what they declared for the first quarter of this year. We expect an improvement in the second quarter to be released to the market between now and the next 3 to 4 weeks. All right, now what makes NEM further more viable as we speak is that there is the plan for a special placement, and you see this special placement already has a preferred buyer. The price of that stock, I don't see it coming down very soon. That is as far as we can go on NEM. Quickly now we go to Fitson. Fitson is the only health care company that featured on the highest percentage gainers chart for the first half of 2018. We saw the price at 3 naira 70 kobo. It touched 6 naira 24 kobo. It came to 6 naira. All right, in the process, within the year, so far so good, it has grown by 62.16%. that is in 6 months. And why? There is just about 1.5 billion outstanding number of shares, and you know what, about 1.309 billion unit of this company stocks, of the 1.5 billion unit of its entire shares, are being held by 73 people. These 73 people include the board, the management, the top management, and the other management staff of the organization, and some other institutions. So you can see that the float of Fitson in the market is very few. 71 kobo was the earning per share for the audited report in 2017, all right, from 21 kobo in the previous year. But there are two major attractions in this organization. One, it has built capacity. The new factory is WHO compliant factory, which suggests that they can harness businesses such that WHO can finance. All these other donor agencies globally can begin to patronize Fitson Healthcare. That is that makes that company, or the stock of that company, very attractive. We just need to tell you this basic information. Two, the company is coming out with a right issue. Why? They sat down and found out that they pay too much of money as interest to financial institutions, and so because of that, they have decided to come to the market to do a right issue. And you know what? This right issue is going to be underwritten, and that suggests that whatever quantities that will be issued had been taken up already. All right, so if you look at this, it makes the stock of Fitson very, very attractive. That is how far we can go on that segment for now. We'll go on a short break. You see the advertisement from First Registrar, and when we come back, we'll be talking Forex. And I do hope sincerely that we are guiding you right. If that is the case, don't go anywhere, because I will be right back.